Welcome back to another edition of the Gabagools Podcast, episode 53. With me today, the Cuzzo Dan. How we feeling?
53. I'll tell you what, 53. If it were 53 degrees outside last week, I would have kissed you on the mouth. Today, however, we're talking today. It's pushing 65 out there today. Anyone in the Midwest, I'll tell you right now, we don't the last week or two, I don't know if we've really been delving into the weather. I just had to post this, or I got to talk about it really quick. 60, 65 degrees outside. Holy shit. We're getting the expletives out there early today. Holy fucking shit.
I
That's
like the
two.
energy. You know what?
That's three.
There you go. It's a lot of money to the swear jar if whoever's
Yeah.
keeping track.
Yeah, you bet.
But, if you want to keep adding a couple like holy shits, NFL free agency, and I think this is why the NFL always is supreme to every other sport, just because of the free agency. And you could almost compare it to the NBA free agency, which is probably actually more exciting than the actual season. But NFL is year round. You get 10 days of a break. And that's why I always laugh when people complain, like in dynasty leagues or fantasy leagues in general, like, oh, well, I don't pay attention, just casual. Well, if you want to be good, don't complain and actually pay attention year round like you're supposed to. I mean, if you're a casual guy that just, hey, I'm going to play my redraft league and, be supreme at it, you're not really that impressive. That's my little PSA to a couple of people.
Hot take. Hot take.
I hate redraft leagues. I think they're a big waste of time. I know nothing against anyone who plays against them. Actually, no, I'm gonna take
No,
shots.
give it to him. Yeah,
Yeah,
give it to him. Don't hold
it's just,
back.
yeah, they're a little little weak minded. I would say they're very easy. I mean, if you play in a 12-man league, about 8 of the people probably already quit by week 3 because they're 0-3 or so on and so forth. You don't see trades, so pretty much you might as well play best ball. I like best ball. I don't know if you've ever played in any of those leagues where you do one draft and you keep your team and, you draft enough players where they do an auto lineup change and worst comes to worst. Your worst comes to worst, then it just, automatically swaps it for you. It's perfect for the casual fan. I think we should push away from redraft and more do best ball. I like best ball, like I said.
I'm not super familiar with best ball, but anyone who's been listening, and again, I know there's hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions of you at this point, 53 episodes in, but basically what we're trying to tell you here, if you haven't picked up on it yet, redraft blows. Okay, so if you're a redrafter, I think I'm actually in a redraft league. So unfortunately, it stings a little bit hearing it from this gabagool, from one gabagool to the other, if you will. But redraft can suck a
It's
fat one.
Yeah, it's boring. I mean, it's just. I mean, I don't know. It depends. If you have a good group that you do like little shit at the end of the year, where it's like, okay, if you finish last, you have to do like a beer mile or something cool like that. But it's very difficult to find a good group of people that actually contribute and they don't get all butthurt about it and be like, no, I'm not doing it, man. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know. I've been playing fantasy for so long. You get guys like that all the time. You try to weed them out the best you can. So,
yeah,
but
gotta weed out the weak ones.
yeah, I mean that's what I've had to do in many dynasty leagues. Is people who don't pay attention. See you later.
See you
Uh,
later, alligator.
but yeah, like getting back on track here. You got the NFL free agency going on. We got people dropping like flies in a good way onto teams. Some of the main ones. I don't know how big of a DK Metcalf fan you are, but he got traded from the Seahawks to the Steelers. Signed a 5-year, 150 deal to stay or to go on the Steelers. Don't know who their quarterback is. Hearing it might be Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. So we'll see who ends up being the QB there. I like that signing a lot. I like that trade a lot. I think they have 2 of the more problematic downfield wide receivers now to get multiple fights.
It almost makes sense though. DK obviously played with Russ for a while, so it kind of almost you kind of draw that comparison to okay, maybe Pittsburgh's. I mean, and we just we'll get into it in a sec with what the Jets just did, but
Yeah.
it almost makes sense, right, for Russ to kind of go there. Yeah, I am a DK fan. I mean, he's a freak. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
don't make the receivers that look like him. So yeah, he's a hell of a receiver, but Yeah, we'll see what Pittsburgh does at behind center.
Yeah, depending on who their QB is, I think you obviously could slot DK into your top 15. I think you move him above. I mean, the Tomlin offense is very ground and pound and always kind of has been. Um, I'd like to put him in my top 15 wide receivers. I think he slots in around 18 right now for fantasy.
I was going to say 18. Yeah, it's probably tough to find 18 naturally gifted wide receivers in the league
That's
more
what
than him.
I want to move him up higher, but it's just
Yeah,
the uncertainty of like who his QB is, and then just knowing the Steelers' offense in history. So,
right. He's a
uh,
stud though.
yeah. A couple re-signings. One, Josh Allen, 6 years, 330. Bonkers money. Well deserved for the MVP. Good for the Bills fans. Keep your franchise QB happy. And then the other re-signing that was pretty big was Myles Garrett. I don't know if you saw anything about him. He was talking about leaving, demanding a trade, wasn't going to play, wanted to go to a contender. End of the day with that one, money talks. He basically just became the I lost my train of thought with your expression there, but money talks with 4 years, 160 makes him the highest played non QB in the NFL currently. That'll change whenever Jamar Chase ends up signing. So that was pretty cool.
Money talks. That is the second hot take we've had already. We are 6.5 minutes in. So if you're watching, this is 53 could be the episode for you to really become a fan. But yeah, Myles Garrett. Yeah, that one too. I saw that when I was going through some of the recent signings this morning, and I actually, I don't know if I was just not. I don't know if I didn't see it come through, but yeah, that was a little interesting too because you heard. I mean, he was on. They had him on for the Super Bowl, I think, and like they interviewed him or something. And he's like, "Yeah, I want out of Cleveland." It's like, okay, all right, and then yeah, you see that and you're like, well, I mean, did you see the money, the dollars and cents, or no?
Yeah, 4 for 160. So he gets like close to 40 a year.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good. Larry David.
Yep. Next one, Devonte Adams signed that 2 year, pretty massive deal for 2 years to go to the Rams, which honestly, he didn't skip a beat. He was far from being the Jets' problem last year. Good for him. Love that for Stafford. We're a big Stafford guy on this. Stafford stands on this podcast. So got to root for him. Like that
Yeah.
for fantasy, like it for fantasy, like it for Puka.
Do they still have Cup, or is
Cup
he
is demanding a trade, and he's pretty much
okay?
way out. So we'll see where he ends up. I
Well,
mean,
now you got Devontae and Puka. You still have an excellent
better. That's
tandem right
better.
there. Yeah, right.
Obviously, last week I don't know if we touched on it, but the Bears had signed and traded for a couple players here. They got oh my god, their names are slipping my mind. I think it's Joe Tooney. He's a 4-time Super Bowl champion. He was on the Chiefs, and he also was a center, or not center, but he played guard for Brady. I think his last year in New England. So solid, another solid guard. And then they also traded for Jonah Jackson, who is a one-time Pro Bowler. He originally came out of the Detroit Lions system, went over to the Rams, kind of not injury plagued, but like had a tough time. He had to move to center because of how many injuries they had. I think we mentioned it. So that's a pretty good signing. So the Bears kind of revamped their line, and then the big one that dropped today was Dahlman. He's a top 5 rated guard. He was with Atlanta, so obviously they ran the ball really well with Bijan. He definitely helped them. So we're really running out of excuses this season for Caleb Williams. If he does not pan out, it's because he's just not that, like, he's good, but he's not
Yeah,
the guy that the elite player that everybody thought he was going to be, is the best way to put it.
right. And this is something the Bears really haven't done, which is they've gone out and tried to cater to the quarterback and give him everything he needs to succeed. And yeah, you're right. You go out and you get all these guys to help protect you, and not only should he be better, but the running game should hopefully be better next year as well. So, you know what? Only time will tell. We got to stay healthy. We've got a bunch of people that are getting hurt. So, um, yeah, I don't want to get too excited, but
6 out of 10. 6 out of 10.
we
Your excitement.
and the thing is we still have such a tough division yet again this next year, especially with a couple of the other signings that we haven't mentioned. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. DJ Reed, former Jets corner, he went to Detroit. That he's a solid player. It's gonna hurt losing him, but it is what it is. It's a business. He went where more money came from, and he's gonna do really well with Detroit. Um, so that helps. And then let's see here. Who else is worth noting?
I got a big one for you.
All right, hit me.
Sam Darnold. Did we see
Yes,
that? Three
yes.
years, nearly 100 million going to Seattle. Okay, so anybody who picked up Sam Darnold this year for fantasy, especially if it's a dynasty league, you're looking pretty good. I mean, now Seattle has moved some of their receivers, right? DK, we just talked about it. He's gone. I think they're not bringing back Lockett, but they do have that kid, that Njigba kid, who looked really good last year. So you got him, I think, but. Darnold going to Seattle, big move.
Yeah, I bet you they add some sort of wide receiver either via free agency and in the draft as
Yeah.
well to help out JSN. That's going to be huge. But yeah, I'm happy for Sam. Obviously, big Sam Darnold fan on this podcast. Former USC Trojan. So good for Sam. Going to have to show what he's got.
And one more. How about Aaron Jones staying with Minnesota? And with Minnesota moving on from Sam Darnold, what does that mean? That means my boy, J.J. McCarthy, stepping in next year. Let's hope.
Hey, I don't know if you still have it in your notebook. You can look at it another time. But if you recall, March of last year, I said that J.J. McCarthy was going to be a top 15 or QB.
You did.
And
Are we
I mean,
bringing that back this year?
oh, easily.
Oh my God,
Easily.
that's the third hot take.
That's what we do on this podcast. The skillet is hot.
Oh my God. All right. Wow. You know what? I hope so. Being a partial owner in a league, I shouldn't say partial owner. I do have, yeah, I don't know, sound a little, but you know what? We'll see.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got Darnold, Chris Godwin signed a, I think 2 or 3 year deal to stay in Tampa with Baker. That's huge. I like it. This will kind of go down with the regime that they have. I like that signing.
He's been a great receiver. I feel like he's been underrated the past few years. He's been great. He was great before Brady went there. He was great for Brady, and he's been really good for Baker. So yeah, I mean he's honestly, I think he's great.
Yeah, he's honestly a fan favorite of mine too. For fantasy, he was really good too.
Stud.
Yeah, coming off that knee injury too, so we'll see what he ends up doing once he's back. A Jet signing, got 2 of them. One yesterday, Jamie Sherwood, 3 years for $45 million.
Yeah, we don't. No offense to Sherwood, we don't care about that one on the pod. Let's hear the other one. Let's hear the good one.
I was gonna give him his flowers. I like that sign. He had a breakout year last year. Really enjoy what he can do. I'm glad that they brought him back. And then more importantly, Justin Fields. I think it was like 2 years for $40 million. Rejoins his Ohio State wide receiver Garrett Wilson. I mean, it was the most predictable signing. I said I did not want it. I'm not going to be cheerleading about it, waving my flag. I don't hate it. But
don't hate it.
I mean, what else am I going to do? You got rid of Rodgers and Adams. Now we're into Garrett Wilson. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what they have to do on in free agency, basically out or in the draft to see what they do to surround these guys. We'll see how he gets the ball. I mean, Fields he can't play. I don't even have words for him. He's just such a he gets the yips. I think that's the word I'm looking for is he gets the yips. After he snaps the ball, he'll see a guy wide open and just not see it. If that makes sense.
So basically, you're comparing him to John Lester not being able to throw the ball to first base.
Essentially, yeah.
I mean, hey, you know what? Fields is a guy who can win you some games. I mean, if he could find a way to take the next step, he's a great runner. He's got some solid arm strength for sure. But there's a lot of guys like that who just are good, but not good enough or not, whatever. But we'll see. Everybody. Sometimes a change of scenery is all you need. So maybe another change of scenery is.
He wasn't horrible with the Steelers.
No,
He
he
wasn't
wasn't.
horrible. So, I mean, cautiously optimistic. 4 out of 10 excitement level. They have other problems. I mean, they lost their right tackle or left tackle, one of the two, Moses. He went to the Patriots. Patriots went out and signed a ton of guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So they're going to be back. Drake May looks good, obviously, too. So a lot of excitement for the Patriot fans, unfortunately. But yeah, like I said, for Fields, 4 out of 10. Any other ones that I might be missing that are of note?
That was pretty much all I had.
Josh Palmer went to the Bills as of 25 minutes ago. 3-year deal. That's actually pretty good for him. Jawami Brown to the Jaguars, 1-year, $10 million deal. Samaje Perine just signed a 3-year deal with the Buccaneers. Let's just add another frickin' running back to that room. What the hell is going on there? But
hey,
yeah,
they want to run it well this year. Ground and pound.
Seriously. I wonder if that means they move on from White and just have Bucky and no, because P. Ryan's not really, he's like a third option on that team anyway. So, Bears signed defensive tackle Grady Jarrett to a 3-year, $43 million deal. He came out of Atlanta, defensive tackle. Pretty good guy. Stealing everybody from Atlanta, it seems like. So, good for the Bears. Addressing a big need on that defensive line. And they also signed Osa. What the hell is his name? I always forget his last name. I'm going to butcher it regardless if I could see it. But you just went out and got, Deo Debo, one of the two. You're going to see it. You're going to have to look it up. He actually came from the Colts, not Dallas.
Okay.
He's a defensive end. He's pretty solid. I know him just because playing in those IDP leagues with a full roster, you kind of know some of the defensive tackles or ends. It's not bad. Not a bad signing. So Bears are very aggressive. Like I said, they're building around Caleb. They're building up, what they need to do. So they should be a lot better this year. I'd like to see them bring back Keenan Allen as well.
We're making moves. We're making moves, baby.
Yep. And then, while we're on the move, let's transition over to baseball, huh? Let's talk about the AL East today, and we'll do a quick prediction on that. Leading off, we have the injury-plagued this spring New York Yankees, who are projected as of whatever Pacoda put this out, 88.8 wins projected. So obviously round up to 89 on this podcast. I think that has to drop now that Garrett Cole probably needs Tommy John. It's recommended. I don't know if he gets it right away. Stanton's out for a while. Luis Gil, who won Rookie of the Year, he's out for 3 months, I believe I saw. Yankees can't stay healthy, and we love to see it.
It's funny because they were pretty healthy last year, and especially like Stanton. He's been hurt every single year, it seems like, since he's become a Yankee. And you feel bad for some of these guys as a Garrett Cole owner in another league. Last year, I'll be perfectly honest with you, he hurt me, missing the first half of the year, and then I was just getting ready. I'm like, all right, the season's getting going. Like, all right, staff looks good. Everybody, for the most part, is healthy in the lineup. We're looking all right, right? Now, of course, Garrett goes down again, and now they're seeking maybe a second opinion. Yeah, if he goes down, I mean, they had Stroman as maybe like a sixth option in that rotation. You're going to probably have to have him as a starter now, and they're going to probably have to call up people from,
Will Warren.
Yeah, he's probably going to have to.
So.
Yeah, so, I mean, if they could stay healthy, yeah, you're talking about a team just as good as last year.
Yeah, I mean, they did, some of their acquisitions that they did make. Obviously, they had Max Fried on that 8-year deal. They traded for Devin Williams from the Brewers, got the back-end closer that they desperately needed. Traded with the Cubs to get Cody Bellinger. He's super inconsistent, though, so it's like one good year, bad year, one good year, bad year. If he's on, he's on at least. Paul Goldschmidt, the ghost of Paul over here. He'll be manning first base. He'll have a solid year, but we'll see. Carlos Carrasco apparently signed a minor league deal with them. So, but the biggest hole is they didn't replace Juan Soto. They got a couple good players. but not the elite talent that they needed. Unfortunately, I think the Yankees still will probably finish at least second and probably get that last wild card spot.
We'll see because yeah, they've got some depth, but you know what? You're starting to lose some of your best players here. And let's face it, if Judge goes down at any point this year,
Which you usually,
now your
yeah,
now your lineup, not only your lineup but your team is really hurting. So, they got a bandage around them already. We haven't even started the year, and that usually is not a great indicator because, as you know, it's a long season and guys get hurt. So. Uh, yeah, not super high on the Yankees right now. I was a few weeks ago.
yeah. If you would have told me that everybody was healthy, like or we did this podcast 3 weeks ago, Yankees probably put up 97 wins. But given their kind of state right now, they'll still be just kind of a middling team. I don't think they addressed third base yet either.
Um, no, yeah, I mean it's looking like it could be LeMahieu if he's healthy enough to play it, and then you
Once
got
that's another guy that just never
yeah,
stays healthy.
yeah. I mean, it's looking that Max Fried signing is really looking good for them now because of Cole going down and Hill, and then yeah, but
Still got Rodon, still got Clark Schmidt, so
yep,
they'll
yep,
find a way. Yankees always do.
yep.
But the emergence of Volpe, I think they still have Jazz Chisholm too. I completely forgot about him. And then Jason Dominguez too should be pretty
The
good.
Martian.
The Martian.
Yep, we'll see if he starts looking like the Martian.
Yep. Moving into our other team in the East, the Beast of the East, Baltimore Orioles. I think, let's see, what is their PECOTA? They are sitting currently at 88 wins, so pretty much tied with the Yankees. I think that's a solid kind of judgment for them, except for the fact that Grayson Rodriguez is out for some time now because I think
Hmm.
he's having either shoulder or elbow soreness, one of the two. So that's never good. They're they're pretty much big free agent pitcher signing was Charlie Morton. So you're sitting there with Zach Eflin, Dean Kramer, Tumoki, Sagano. He's like, I think he's a rookie, but he's looked phenomenal this spring. I don't know if you've seen anything about him. And they get Felix Batista back in the back end of that bullpen. So um, pitching should be okay. And then
Yeah,
go into the hitters after you put in your 2 cents on their pitching.
I mean, okay is the way that I would describe it too. I mean, you didn't want to pay Corbin. He went to Arizona, I think. So you lose your by far your best pitcher. Grayson Rodriguez looks really good, but he hasn't become the guy just yet. So I feel like letting Corbin go after you just had this new ownership come in that apparently has money to spend, and they still haven't really. I think they locked up Gunner. I think, if I'm not mistaken, but I mean. Yeah, I mean, you look at you just mentioned the guys in the rotation. I mean, you so basically you lost Corbin Burns and you added 40-year-old Charlie Morton. That to me is not you're not going out there and really saying, hey, we want to put our stake in the ground and we're the best team to beat in our division. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, they should have traded for Garrett Crochet, like I've been saying too. They have plenty of prospects
Absolutely.
on from. Jumping into their position players as well, Adley Rauchman, obviously we know what he can do. Ryan Mountcastle, Jackson Holiday, Jordan Westberg. Gunner is hurt, but he's solid at short. Tyler O'Neill, they brought him in from from Boston. Cedric Mullins, Colton Cowser, Heston Kershad, and then Ryan O'Hearn to round out their position players. Solid team. They're going to win ball games. We
Yeah.
know that. Very tough, really young. We saw them get bounced in the playoffs, but not really shocking given their pitching staff. They really need to stay healthy in the pitching staff for them to make a big move. They also have a couple of young pitchers that could come up and hopefully do some damage for them, but they're not going to be my pick for the. I like them a lot, but they're not going to be my pick for the division. I'll get to them my pick later.
Ooh, ominous. No, it's tough for me to pick Baltimore too. I like their young position players for sure. I think everyone does. Adley's obviously one of, if not maybe the best catcher going right now. I mean, you can make that argument for maybe another guy or two, but Mountcastle and O'Hearn playing a little bit of first DH. Those guys are solid. I think to me, I mean, as long as Gunder and Westberg stay healthy and have a really good years like they did last year, it comes down to Jackson Holiday really, and then some of the guys in their outfield. If
And Chase,
Holiday can, yeah, if Holiday can be the guy and really get some hits, that's a huge boost. And then the outfield, Kauser, Kierstad. I don't think. I mean, I know Kauser was a little hot and cold. I think last year, Kierstad, I'd have to see his numbers. Tyler O'Neill, he can be a little hot and cold as well. I think he had a solid year last year, but the outfield lead, the outfield's good, right? They're a little young, they're a little unproven. Unproven. The infield looks pretty solid. So yeah, they're going to score some runs for sure. But man, they're in such a tough division, though. That's the problem. So I don't know.
yeah, moving into the next team, that's kind of like an up and down team. Just had some kind of mediocre years recently. Is the Tampa Bay Rays, and it's usually because their pitching staff just gets annihilated by Tommy John surgery. But we're going with the Pacoda projection of 82 wins, and that kind of seems on point. Maybe 85, and that's a lot. That's a lot to give a team at their caliber. Rounding out their pitching, Shane McClanahan, or McClanahan, he's back off of his surgery. Ryan Pepio looks good. Shane Baz, Taj Bradley, Zach Lytle, and then closing it out is Pete Fairbanks. Solid rotation, could do a lot of damage. Just as the Rays do, they develop pitching. I think one guy to look at too is Joe Boyle. They got him from the A's. Throws like 100-something miles per hour. Whether he's a bullpen guy, that's a guy to watch this year, or he could be a starter. And then they got obviously Hunter Beige from your Cubbies.
Yeah, Biggie. Can't you see? There you go. Yeah, you know what? Tampa's that's kind of how they've been, right? They can draft some pitching, man. I like their rotation if they can stay healthy. They got a lot of good arms in there. Their bullpen, some of their guys I don't know as well, but Tampa just finds guys, and I know that bullpen's good. It's going to come down to, as it does with a fair amount of teams, the offense. But the pitching I like, as long as, like I said, as long as they stay healthy, I like that rotation.
Yeah. Moving into the position players, Danny Jansen catching, Yandy Diaz, always a solid. Sometimes I think he's not won an All-Star game. Got awarded an All-Star vote. Brandon Lau, or Lowe, whatever you want to call him, he's pretty solid at second base, and he's got some power. This guy I'm most excited about on their team is Junior Caminario. I think he had a cup of coffee up with the team last year. You'd see him emerge and kind of be that, kind of what Wander did when he was up, and just showed like how dominant he could be. I think he's going to be solid. They did go get Ha-Seong Kim from the San Diego Padres. He's hurt, but he'll be back soon. Christopher Morel, he's up and down. Johnny DeLuca, meh. And then Josh Lowe should be solid as well in right field.
And let's not forget, they've got an ex-White Sox too, Eloy. See what he does this year.
Yeah, see if he stays healthy.
They've got some solid pieces there. I like Ha-Seong Kim a lot. Defensively, he's a stud. The Cabanario kid, too, yeah, he looks like he's going to be really good. So, for Tampa's sake, man, you just mentioned Wander Franco. Unfortunately, he had his own issues, but man, on the field, he was great. And if they can get another guy similar to that with that type of talent, that's huge, especially for that offense. You look at the outfield, like you said, Christopher Morel can win you some games, but man, I think it might have been just under the Mendoza line last year. You got to hit better than 200. And if you're going to hit 200, you got to hit me 45 to 50 bombs or more. DeLuca, Lau, however you said it, nice players, but yeah,
it's fourth. I think they finish fourth. They'll have a solid pitching staff, but not really that good in that division, in my opinion. And they also got rid of Jeffrey Springs. He got traded to the Athletics, so
yeah, if you can't score runs, it's tough to win.
Yep, exactly. Moving to the team just northeast of us in Toronto, the Blue Jays. They're going to be my team I picked to finish last, I'll be honest with you. 84 wins, or 85 projected. They brought in Anthony Santander, Jeff Hoffman, Yimi Garcia, Max Scherzer, Andres Jimenez, Miles Straw. Solid players. I like it. That's just they don't put it together. They with Vladdy and Bichette, you would have thought that they would be a lot better team than they are. Their pitching staff looks good. Kevin Gosman, like I said, Scherzer, Chris Bassett, Jose Barrios, who just dials up softball home runs on a regular basis. And then a guy who came on hot near the end of the year was Bowden Francis. I think he had back-to-back complete games, almost one no-hitter in there too. That's their pitching staff. So thoughts?
You know what? I don't know what to think with Toronto. What I'll say is this: I like a lot of the moves they've made this
Yeah,
offseason.
they've done it.
And I couldn't agree more with you with Bo and Vladdy. You would assume that with those two, your team should be halfway decent. Obviously, Bo last year had an off year; he was hurt, and Vladdy had a pretty good year. So if you can get both of them healthy, doing their thing this year, I like some of the other guys. I mean, Santander is, I think, a huge piece to add to that lineup if he hits another 40 or more. Varsho, you'll see what you get from him. Kirk's not a bad hitting catcher. You got some pieces there. And honestly, with the rotation, I like their rotation, actually. Barrios, I think, he can serve up some homers, but I like his arm. I think he's solid. What are you going to get from Scherzer? If Scherzer gives you some fairly vintage Maxi boy, he'll be good. Bassett, I've always liked. Gosman's been pretty solid. They've got a lot of good people. And, I mean, come on. How can you not like this team when you've got a kid with your last name on there? I shouldn't call him a kid, but Jeff Hoffman. I mean, come on now. I would love to pick the Blue Jays. They're kind of the dark horse, if you will. I mean, I don't know. I know you don't like Toronto that much, but they've got some players over there if they could all find a way to stay healthy. But
yeah, I mean, if they get the ghost of George Springer to stay healthy and kind of make
he's another one. Yeah.
Joey Larperfido, he's actually one of my favorites because he'd come on the scene last spring with Houston. Just never got a chance there. So they could be really good, but I mean, I just don't see it.
I don't know either. I don't know what I'm seeing.
Their pitching staff just implodes, it seems like. But moving to a team Northeast, my dark horse to win the division this year, Boston Red Sox. They are
Boston's interesting.
Dude, if you were to hear like their Pacoda, which I'm going to tell you, so you're going to hear it now, 79.5 wins. How the hell is this team projected this? We're going to go through their pitching staff first. Garrett Crochet, Tanner Houck, Brian Bayo, he's hurt, but he'll come back. Walker Buehler, and Lucas Giolito. That's a solid starting staff. And then you have Liam Hendricks closing it out, and then Chapman's mixed in there too. But you also have Garrett Whitlock, a couple other guys that were on the team last year. That's a solid pitching staff.
You know what? Walker Buehler could end up being one of the best signings this year. I'm a huge fan of his. I was a little shocked that he didn't get a multi-year deal, especially from LA. They've got more money than God. And
I mean, other guys.
Yeah, but I mean, God, who cares? They could have deferred all his money. He probably would have stayed there too.
I just don't think got spot. That's the problem because they keep bringing Kershaw back.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? For the Dodgers, they should use a 10-man rotation because you want to talk about everyone who gets hurt, like Tampa. The Dodgers, all their guys are hurt every year, and half the guys in their rotation, if not almost all of them, are coming off a TJ the last year or two. So
yeah, good point.
Boston, though, yes. What are you going to get from Crochet? I like the guy a lot. I've told you he's a Cubs as a Cubs
Cy Young. I think he's going to be a Cy Young winner this year because they're going to unleash him, and he's going to be that ace of that team.
You know what? If he is, Boston will be halfway decent. Buehler. I think it comes down to Crochet. If he's anywhere decent, I think it comes down to Buehler and Giolito. Gio's coming off another TJ from last year. He didn't pitch. He was like their big free agent signing last year. And then Buehler. If those two give you anything that we know they can, to go along with Crochet, we've seen some stuff from Houck. Bello, I don't know enough about to be hooting and hollering over him. You could show me numbers and say he's all right, but I personally, I'd like to see more. But yeah.
He's a solid 3. If he doesn't have to be the guy, I mean, he went 14-8 last year, really high ERA with 4.49, 153 Ks, 136 WHIP. So I mean, he's got okay numbers.
Sounds like a 4 or 5 to me.
Yeah, I mean, probably what he's going to end up being on that team. But you
Right.
move into what excites me most, and it's if these guys are not already banged up if they are,
Right.
is their position players. You got Connor Wong, who's just solid behind the plate, not going to really do a lot, but it can win you a couple games. Tristan Casas at first, Bregman just signed him. He'll be playing second. Devers at third. Story at shortstop. Jaron Duran, who had one of the quietest, best seasons last year across baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Zidane Rafaela, Will Abreu, and then Yoshida as well. But what excites me most is the guys that they have coming up in the system is Kristen Campbell and Roman Anthony. I think those guys are going to come up and be absolute studs in this lineup because they have the protection in that lineup to kind of carry them. And that's what's putting me. I think they're going to be the dark horse this year. I really do.
Well, you know what? You make a strong case. We heard rumblings about them trying to move Casas this offseason. That didn't happen. Now you've added another left side of the infielder with Bregman. You think Bregman's going to play second? I
Yeah.
would assume. I
Yeah.
would assume. I mean, and unfortunately, everyone knows Bregman's a much better defensive third baseman. So I think at some point or the other, if Devers makes too many errors, they're going to go to him and say, you're not playing third anymore. And then if that happens, then he's either got a DH or he's got to move to first.
I'm interested
And
to see just because, like, with you saying that too, it makes sense. But I'm kind of surprised that Story and Bregman didn't flip flop because Bregman played shortstop in college. I'm pretty sure.
Bregman probably could play short, and you might be right on that. He's just a very solid defender, and I think they don't want him to play second base. They want him to play third because of that. Story he's another one with the injury bug. What are you going to get from him? If you get 100 games from him, you'd be happy.
Yeah,
And he's a great player, but this team. I like some of the young kids too. The Roman Anthony kid. I mean, it seemed like he came out of nowhere the last year or two. Shot up the prospect rankings, and he's what, like 2 or 3. And that other kid they have is in the top 5 or 10, I think. So they look good.
Trace
We'll
Thompson.
see.
Trace Thompson, if you remember him from the Dodgers and White Sox, he's had a hot spring. He has 6 home runs for the Red Sox. So he'll probably make
You know what?
squad.
I'll tell you, if it was all about spring training, we'd have there'd be a lot of other people that were the big names of the sport. So we'll see. I'm not too interested in spring training numbers, but yeah, hey, 6 homers for Trace, good for you.
I guess that's why you don't win in fantasy, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what we're gonna chalk up spring training to. Yeah, all right. What are the and I shouldn't even be saying this. What have you guys done in spring training?
I wasn't talking about the Sox. I was talking about fantasy.
No, I know. I'm just flipping it on you now. What have you guys done in spring training? What have you lost almost every game again?
I think so. Let me look.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the standings here. Probably not very good.
No.
Perfect. Let me go baseball reference. Oh, it's not even on there. ESPN. Let me look it right here. I'll get it for you.
I think you guys have like 5 wins or less.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
4-11. 4-11.
There you go.
Right spots and Shane Smith. He's been a solid reliever. They got him a Rule 5 draft, I think, from the Brewers. So he'll be out there. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. You guys win spring training every year, just like you win the attendance award. It's really cute, hang it up there, hang your banner. You could have your little let me see, bagpipes going down, Clark Street or wherever.
I don't think we've got the bagpipes there, Sonny Boy. I mean, if we're playing bagpipes, it's on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, well, you guys will do something.
You know what? Why don't you simmer down over there, you South Sider? You guys are, You guys are in for another long season. I already said this. You're going to be the most improved team this year in the whole sport.
Yeah,
So,
probably by like 15 wins too.
so
I do like what Will Venable's doing. I mean, the team sucks, but
sure, yeah, okay, yeah, you betcha. No, Boston's an interesting team. That's your dark horse though. That's not who you're not picking them.
I'm picking him.
Oh, you're picking Boston to win.
Yeah.
Man, that's I mean, it's an interesting pick because they finished what did they finish last year? Did they even finish third?
I think they
I want to
finished.
say they
Let me look.
Tampa. I think Toronto might have been last.
81
Boston
and
might have
81.
finished third.
500. They finished 500. I'm
Well,
telling
I'm
you,
not picking Boston.
with the way the Yankees have fallen apart, I don't like it. I mean,
Yeah,
without Cole, they're not the same team.
no. Who do I go with though? You know what? We're gonna take. I'm gonna stick with Baltimore. We're gonna see if Baltimore can find their way to win something. Honestly, I probably would have taken the Yankees too if this was a couple weeks ago. But yeah, the Cole and some of the other guys going down. I mean, they still have some depth, but I'll take Baltimore. Let's go
Yep,
with the kids.
sounds good. Yep, and like I said, I got Boston. So
Very interesting. Well, you heard it here first.
always. Anything else to close us out?
I don't know. You got any more hot takes for us?
No.
Well, that was three. That was three today. So
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if we're always tallying the hot takes, but I don't think we always have three either. So this podcast. I tell you,
You want to recap it real
53.
quick? Recap it real quick since I know you wrote them down.
Well, I did. I like to mark them down with my Papermate fluid one. If you don't have one of these, go ahead and get yourself a couple of these, and they come in different colors too. Redraft being for lack of a better word, being gay. Capital Gay.
I never said they were gay. I just said they're for the birds. So don't quote me on that one.
We also have the Money Talks. Money Talks. That was a big one. That was a big one, right?
Was it
there.
a hot take?
Oh, that was hot. That was hot. That was a hot take. And JJ, top 15 quarterback. That was a hot take from last year, but that's like a 2-year. It's an extended warranty, if you will.
Yeah, because I mean, I was technically half right because Sam Darnold was crazy good last year.
He was great. Well, I hope JJ is a top. Hell, Sam was a top.
Probably top 5 if you had
I was gonna say he was right up there. Yeah. Let's hope JJ does that this year. We need a little McCarthy love. That's what we need.
I like him. I mean, I think he's underrated, honestly.
Hot take.
You and your damn pen. All right. All right. I guess we'll close out there.
Yeah, there we go.
Salute ya.